Hi, Porto.
Hi, mate. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I'm very well, very well. Give me all your thoughts about this week and what lies at the end of it, please.
It's an exciting week for us. Since we came in yesterday, the place has kind of been buzzing, looking forward to it, and it's a massive opportunity for us, and it's something that probably won't happen in a lot of time in people's career, that you can go and play in a national cup final and compete for a major trophy. So listen, it's something that everyone in here is looking forward to, and it's going to be a good day.
Who were you the day that Hibs won the cup?
I was at the game. I was just like under 17s the last year at high school for me, so just about to come in full time. So I wasn't in and about the squad. I was probably about a year or 2 years out it. So I was a bit gutted about that. But listen, it was probably one of the best days of my life, being there as a fan, and I could only imagine doing it as a player would be just as good, if not even better.
Did the club change? Do you think the way that you looked at players who are now your teammates changed when the players won the cup that day?
Aye, listen, when I first came in full time, I was kind of looking at players like Dave, Daz, and Louis, and standing in awe of them, really, watching them from when I was younger to go and see them become legends. And but I quickly had to realise that these were my teammates, my colleagues, and now my friends. So it's kind of changed from being a massive fan to kind of taking that next step and realising that this is my job now, and now it's my time to step up and try and become a legend like them.
Do you expect to start the game?
Listen, I think that whatever team the manager plays will be the right one. Got full faith and trust in him, that no matter who he plays out, that he'll pick the right team. Whether it's me or Daz that play, it doesn't really affect me at all. I've played a lot of games this season, and of course I want to be in the starting 11. But so will Daz. Obviously, Daz says last week that he wants me to play it, but there's no doubt in my mind that he'll be ready to step in. Whoever the gaffer decides to play.
What did Jack say to you when he took you out of the team a couple of weeks ago? But did he give you any explanation as such?
Sorry, when was that?
When you were rested, did the manager say anything to you?
At Aberdeen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, it was just kind of from the semi-final. I got a bit of a cramp in my hammy, which is unusual for me. So the manager just kind of, I trained Tuesday, and he just went, "Do you feel 100%?" And I felt all right. I felt like I could get through the game, but listen, he says that if you're not 100%, there's no point in playing. You've got a massive game next week, and obviously a big game at Celtic at the weekend. So when you've got someone like Daz that's on the bench and looks after himself that well, and everybody knows how good a defender he is, to come in there and step in, it's not like it's any added pressure for him. He can come in and do it. And since he's been in the team, we've kept unbeaten in 2 games against 2 good teams, and kept 2 clean sheets. So listen, it's no surprise for me that he came in and done that. But listen, I think it's a good thing that we've got the majority of our players fit and ready for Saturday.
Good luck, Ryan.
Thank you.
Ryan, you said that it was one of the best days of your life when they won the cup back in 2016. You'd hope that it'll be one of the best days of your life if you win it at the weekend. Just wondering, is it the biggest game of your career for sure?
Yeah, definitely. I've said it many times that this was my dream growing up. That goal, that one kind of thing that you really want to try and do is win the Scottish Cup with Hibs, regardless of whether the team done it in 2016 or not. It's always been a lifelong goal for me, and now that we've kind of put ourselves in a position as a team, it's something I definitely don't want to pass by. We know it'll be a very tough game. We've seen how good St Johnstone have been this season, especially in high pressure cup competitions. They've pulled off some fantastic results. So we know it'll be a tough game, but we also back our ability and trust ourselves that if we go there, compete, play well, and work really hard, that hopefully it'll be a really good day for us.
Yeah, there's been question marks over your future, a number of the futures of players at the club. Obviously, it's been a great season, so plenty of clubs are in for you. Is there any sense around the club that perhaps this could be the last game of this group of players playing together, and that the best way to mark that is by winning the trophy?
I don't think that's came into anybody's mind, really. I think we're a close-knit group, a tight group. think it's the same as every other season. You know, the gaffer, regardless of whether who goes, who stays this year, last year, he's going to be bringing in new players. The squad is going to change. So, of course, listen, it's been a fantastic group. We've had a brilliant season. You know, this will be our 4th time at Hampden in about 8-9 months, and it's obviously such a shame that the fans can't be there, because you know it would have been a fantastic season to be a fan. We've had a lot of success, and you know we don't want it to stop now. We want to have that final push, that final game where we can go and make something really special happen.
If it does go all the way to penalties, you taking again?
I definitely. I'll put my name forward, but there's a lot of. To be fair, last time there was a lot of boys really confident as well. I was surprised that the manager actually let me take one, but hopefully they'll let me take one this time. Again.
All the best, Ryan.
Thank you.
Ryan, how big was that Mullow game in the quarterfinals? I know you've also had the semi-final since then, but the quarterfinal when you were up against it and sort of had to show that mentality to get through.
Yeah, listen, that's cup competition all over that. You know, it's Motherwell who were in good form at the time and kind of got pegged down 2-0 with 10 minutes to play, and they came back fighting. It's what the beauty of the cup really. And I think that second period of extra time where we dug deep and kind of dusted ourselves off and could have won the game was a big lift for us. And we've had our disappointments this season, but I think that was definitely a turning point for us, and it showed that the character and the resilience that we do have, and that belief that we and that need to get to the next stage to try and win the cup.
I know you were saying it's perhaps pinnacle of your career stuff if you win this, but you're only 22, so where do you go for here if you do manage to lift it?
No, that's it's time for new dreams. It'll be time for new ambitions and new goals. You can't obviously settle on one thing, but my mind's solely focused on Saturday, solely focused on this kind of dream, and trying to make it a reality.
Ryan, have you spoken to David Gray, Lewis, or what have you about the day that you watched them win the Scottish Cup?
Yeah, I've spoken to them many a time about it. I've heard loads and loads of stories, some after the cup, some before it, some during it, and it just seemed like a special day for everybody to be involved in. And I think it's something that the club's really wanted to try and do and drive to achieve, more often than we have done in the past. It's not been good enough for a number of years, and we think that Hibs should be competing in finals, semi-finals every single year, and trying to get that 3rd place, 4th place every year. So we've seen it with Aberdeen for a number of years, whether we're getting the cup finals and finishing 3rd on a regular basis. We want to start doing that. We've done it this year, but now it's all about trying to make that next step and lift silverware.
Since that day, has your career gone to plan?
It's probably went up. To be fair, on that day, if you told me that in a couple of years' time we'll be playing, alongside these players in national semi-finals, in national, cup finals, I wouldn't believe you. But we're here now, and it'll all go to plan if we put on a show on Saturday and everything goes well.
I'm not sure if you can tell us or not about if you're in Steve Clarke's squad for tomorrow.
No, I've not heard anything. Of course, it'll be tough for anybody again. It's a really fantastic squad, fantastic group of players, and I've still got my fingers crossed. But whoever goes, I'm sure it'll be the right decision, and whether I'm there or not, I'll definitely be supporting the boys.
I guess that's your next step then in your career, because you've had a little taste of it being in the squad.
Yeah, of course, that's another dream, another goal of mine, that I want to become a regular for the national team. But first, I've got to get that call up, and that comes for success at club level, really. So that next step for me is Saturday. Regardless of anything, Scotland, I'm not really thinking about that just now. I'm just thinking about Saturday and what lies ahead.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Hey Ryan, I was speaking to David after the game, and he mentioned about a bus, waiting for a bus and 2 come along at once. What would it mean to do in 5 years what previously took 114?
No, it mean everything. But as I've said before, it just shows you the way that the club wants to go. We should be in these positions every year, and we know it doesn't happen often because the big two don't normally get put out at stages so early. But we're in a situation where we've got a chance to lift the cup again. They don't come around often, but we want them to start coming around more often than they have done in previous years, because, as I said before, we're a big club with big ambitions, and we're not arrogant or anything like that, but we want a quiet confidence about the place that we should be in these cup finals and competing for third place every year.
And you mentioned Darren McGregor there, man of the match on Saturday. The manager must be pleased that the three of you are all in good form and giving him options for ahead of the game.
Yeah, of course, it's credit to Daz and Dave. I think Dave in particular, that he's looked after himself, all year, and to go into a game against Celtic and play against that on loan Southampton winger and put on a really good show and look like he's really never been at the team. It's credit to him, and I think it's credit to everything that he stands for as a captain. He's a leader on and off the pitch. You've seen it on the Saturday, and Daz is no different. They both are in tremendous condition for being in the latter stages of their career and not playing a lot of football. So credit to them for helping us out when we need them, really.
Fantastic. Best of luck Saturday, Ryan.
Thank you.
Ryan, you mentioned Dan McGregor there. How big an influence has he had on in your career so far?
Massive. Daz and Paul Hanlon have been massive for me. They've both, coached me since I was, 18, just coming in. And they've always wanted the best for me. Whenever I've been playing, Daz has always, wanted the best for me. Tried to coach me through games at half time, tell me good things I'm doing well, bad things I'm doing well. After games, kind of watching them back with me, telling me again, what I need to improve on and stuff like that. So they've been fantastic for me. And, I can't thank them enough for what they've done for me on and off the pitch as well. They're great lads, and they're great leaders in the changing room and both captain material. If you can get the cup over the line on Saturday as well as a third place finish, what type of target should the club be setting for the years going forward? I think that the goal for the club every single year should be third place in a cup. I think if results, if we obviously we went down a little level in December, maybe we could have had a higher points tally and probably got that record points tally as well. So I think for the season we've had, for personally as well, for the season my first full season without any injuries or being hindered in any way, having the most away wins in the club's history, third place in 15 years, being hammed in, this will be the fourth time. It's a really successful season for myself and for the club, and the next step is just trying to get something tangible this season, and then obviously in the season to come, that goal should remain the same. All the best for the weekend, Ryan. Thank you.
Written guys, Ronnie, you want to kick us off?
Hi Dan, how you doing?
Yeah.
Good. First things first, what's your mum said to you this time? I know that she had texted you in 2016 to make sure you weren't going in the pitch. What's her instructions this time, just to win?
To be fair, I think she was watching it last time, but I'm definitely not sure she'll be watching it this time with the nerves. So we'll see. We'll see if she's. I think she'll probably just switch it on if she knows the result at the end of it. But listen, it's a great day. It's obviously a shame that our families can't come. I think there had to have been ways to get fans there, but especially our families. They've had to watch it from home, just like everyone else. But it could be for St Johnstone players as well. I think that everybody wants your family at a National Cup final, and for us to not have that when you've got 20,000 fans at an FA Cup final in England kind of makes us look a bit stupid. But it is what it is. Our mind now is solely focused on trying to do the job on the pitch, and obviously celebrating with our families afterwards, hopefully.
I'm going to say that to you. Was it quite unsettling last week when you thought you were going to get family there? There was a clamour for you all making sure you had enough tickets, and then suddenly the rug's ripped out from underneath you again.
Listen, even of course, the 300 tickets that we were going to get wasn't going to be enough for our families. We would have been having 2 tickets each, and some of the boys in there obviously would need 5 or 6 if they want all their kids there and their mum, dads, partners and stuff. So listen, it was probably a lose-lose. We'd had some family members there, some not, and then trying to decide what fans would have been there. It would have just probably annoyed more people than it would have benefited. So it's probably a better thing that we can't have any in rather than just a handful. But of course, we probably needed about 300 family members and friends for ourselves, never mind, just 300 fans.
Does it take the shine off it for you? Because you were there, obviously, 2016. You said you've spoken to like David and Louis and guys like that, Paul, that the fans being there, whether it was the bus parade the next day, whether it was actually at the stadium. I mean, that must be a massive part of the memories.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Of course, if you were in an ideal world, you definitely, that's what you would want. But we're in this situation now. Everybody's in the same situation that we've just got to give the fans something back for all the effort that they've put in this season with buying kind of pay-per-view games and still supporting us regardless whether the game worked or not. So hopefully they'll all be watching, and as I said, hopefully we can give something to celebrate this season.
As well as being were you planning the cup parade the next day?
No, I actually had a game for the 17s the next game day. So it was a quick rush to play the game here at the training centre, and then I was up at the parade with one of the boys in the team, just quickly had to get up there and rush about, and kind of got them just coming down Leaf Walk. So obviously that was a great memory for us all.
Excellent.
Ryan, games at Hampden are becoming a fairly regular occurrence for Hibs and for yourself. What do you think the difference in the Dundee United game was to the Hearts game and the St Johnstone game, and how much do you think that performance and results showed that this side has matured and developed this season?
To be honest with you, I think the first half of the St Johnstone game we were good, and then for the majority of the Hearts game we were very good. But I think goals change games, moments in the game that change, and I think scoring the first goal, and as he took it brilliantly against Dundee United, maybe settled the nerves a little bit of relief that we're actually up in the game, and we hopefully that we don't throw away that lead, and we gave us something to hang on to, and then we got the second goal, calmed us down a little bit more and seen it out. So listen, I think goals change game, moments change game, and we need to we need to do the same in the final. If it doesn't go our way and we don't score the first goal, it's all about how we bounce back, and we've done that many times this season, but it's a big one on Saturday night.
You've certainly got a number of players in your side, a lot of players that know how to find the back of the net, and obviously Kevin Nisbet being chief among them. Would you back him to score on Saturday, and would you also like to see him get the nod for Scotland in the Euros tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely. I think Kev deserves all the plaudits he's going to get. Playing against him in training, I can see why he scored that many goals. I think he's the best right now. He's the best striker in the league when it comes to form. I think the way that he works for the team as well. I think he's been criticised before about being lazy and stuff. I can guarantee you that he works his socks off for the team. Him and Big Dodgy sometimes doesn't get the credit for the goals, but he scored in every round of the cup. So long may that continue, and when the three of them, Boyle, Dodge and Nisbet, walk onto the park, that I'm confident that every one of them are going to score because they're such a threat. They're such good players, and they all work so hard for the team. So hopefully they have a very good day for us.
Ryan, you mentioned that you had to dash off the celebrations for a youth game. Can you remember anything about that game, even the score or the opponents?
I think it was we played Dundee United last game of the season for the under 17s. I can't remember the score, but I can't remember the score. I think we won it. We had a good 17s team that year, so I'm going to back us and say we won it. So. But no, it was just a quick mad rush. I didn't even think we had time for a shower. Just get on right up to the parade because we were going to miss it. Actually surprised we still played that game, but that was it was a mad day, and it's something I look back really fondly. Just how it all planned out, how I managed to get up there that late and catch the celebrations. It was brilliant.
See, other than that cup final that you've spoken about, what's your earliest memory of the Scottish Cup Final in general as a young football fan growing up?
Growing up for me, it was probably the majority of the time it was always Celtic and Rangers in the cup finals, Scottish Cup Finals, and then probably starting into the 2010s. Hibs started you could see it when we obviously Hearts played Celtic a couple of times, and it was like we're getting there, and then the Rangers won, obviously just kicked off, but we could see that the mentality of the club kind of changed, and we wanted to really do it. Now that that hoodoo was offered back in 2016, we've not really got, obviously we've not got to the cup final since, but we want to make that next step again, and it's time for new people to step up and become legends, as I said.
Hello, Ryan. Can I ask what your mother's name is, and generally what is her frame of mind when she watches you play? How would you describe it?
My mum name's Jill, with a J, because she'll probably shout at me if you spell
J.
it. So with a J, aye. So but she's. I could just imagine that. Obviously, I've never obviously couldn't tell you exactly what she's like, but she's probably a bag of nerves walking about the house doing any sort of housework, and just to get out the way of the TV. But she says, obviously, when I took the penalty, that she just had to get up, walk away, and hear my dad celebrating. So I probably don't help out the way I play sometimes if she can't watch. But listen, it's a day that I just wish that they could be there. But obviously, now we're in a position where they can't be here, and it probably just it's a shame. But as I've said, we're in strange times right now, and we can't complain too much.
I remember seeing you at Ibrox a couple of years ago when Neil Lennon threw you in. You played superbly well, the team won, and it just struck me then that you're possibly a naturally kind of born big game player. Did the big games, you think, bring the best out of you?
Especially like the old firm games, I do like playing against them. I feel like when I have to defend more of, I can kind of show my qualities a bit more. But it's a massive game on Saturday. As I said, the biggest game of my career, and it's the biggest game of the career for all the boys in there now. So listen, we're all looking forward to it. None more than me, and I just want to. To make that next step in the final, put on a good show, and if it doesn't happen for us, it doesn't happen for us. But it'll not be for the lack of effort, quality, and that need to win the cup.
I wish you the best.
Ryan, can I just ask you a little bit more about Darren? You're obviously speaking to the broadcast guys about him there, but he said last week that he's spoken to you and said you deserve to play in the Scottish Cup final ahead of him. What does it mean if you've got an experienced guy like that who's almost putting your development first, and wanting to be, I guess, a kind of a father figure in a way,
Yeah, obviously, that's his. I don't think that anybody deserves to play the final. I think he's, that kind of shows you how good a guy he is. Really, that he wants to see me go and make that next step to do, exactly what he done in 2016. He wants that for me. But as I've said, Daz has performed fantastically well. And he's got every right to throw his name in the hat as well. So, regardless of who plays. I'm the same for him. I want him to do well. I want the team to do well, and I want us to win the cup first and foremost. And regardless of who plays, I've got confidence in the gaffer that he'll pick the right person.
It must say a lot about the spirit though, and the unity you've got within the group. That he speaks that way.
Yeah, listen, the team winning first and foremost for everybody. I don't know if any were at the game at Aberdeen, but everybody on the bench was. That's the first time I've kind of been on the bench at like a. One of the games where it's really big, it means a lot, and everybody on the bench, some boys that weren't even in the squad, and the staff that you never usually hear, or they're all barking at the sidelines, wanting the team to win, wanting the team to do well, and it just shows that, as you said, that unity and team spirit that we all have, and that's a massive factor of why we've done so well this season.
Ryan, the last game against St Johnstone, it's probably not one you want reminded of on a personal level, but is that one of these incidents that you just sort of can't explain? What was going through your head at the time and stuff?
I think it was just a misplaced pass, really. Trying to play for the back, but it's one of the things. It happens, especially with as a centre half. If you make a mistake more often than not, that it results in a goal. But I thought I bounced back for that during the game quite well. I thought after that, I basically made probably one or two other mistakes, but other than that, I thought I played all right. But mistakes, can sometimes cost you games, and unfortunately, it did in that one. But it doesn't stop me doing exactly what the kind of way I want to play. Obviously, I want to bring the ball to the back. I want to try and pass through lines, and one mistake like that in that situation isn't going to stop me. Trying. To keep playing. Obviously, you learn from your mistakes and make sure it doesn't happen again. But as you said, it was probably one of the things that you can't really explain and just happens kind of in the moment.
been a difficult run of games against St Johnstone that you've had. I mean, it's sort of presented as a bit of a bogey team sometimes. Do you feel like you kind of owe them one, after the last 2 or 3?
I think we owe ourselves a better performance and a better win. But listen, we know that if we turn up and play well and make a good account of ourselves, we've got a right chance. We back our ability. They're a good team. They've shown it on numerous occasions in big games. They'll be a tough nut to crack, but so are we. We're sitting up in third place for a reason, because we're a very good team, and right now we're the best of the rest. So we want to try and hold on to that that status by making that next step and trying to get something tangible for it.
You touched on it earlier, Ryan, with the broadcast, but depending on what happens this summer, this could be potentially your last game for Hibs. Is that something that even crosses your mind going into this game?
No, I've not thought about it at all. I don't think it could be a better game to play, in all honesty. And I just want to be involved in it. I just want to play my part. And as I said, it's a lifelong ambition for me to win this cup. And now I'm in the position to do it. It's a need rather than a want or an ambition. It's something that I feel like I really just must do.
You've touched before about the 2016 final being there, but were you at 2012 as well?
Yeah, I was at 2012. I less said about that, the better, probably.
Yeah, so obviously the highs and lows of the cup for Hibs.
Listen, the highs and lows of Hibs probably, as I've seen it over the years. Being a Hibs fan, it's never easy, but I think this season it's been fantastic. And if the fans were here, they would have really appreciated the hard work and the good performances that we've had to put us in. Hampden 4 times. I could only imagine what it would be like in one season as a fan to go there 4 times. And obviously they've not all been good, but now we've put ourselves in a position to bring success and silverware to the club. So that's our goal. That's our ambition, that we want to bring it back.
Ryan, how will Dalkeith look on Saturday night if you win the cup?
It'll be town will be painted red. Green, maybe.
How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. You?
Good, thanks. Tell us how you're feeling leading up to this final in comparison to leading up to the previous final.
Pretty much similar, actually. Same preparations. Obviously, the only difference will be there'll be no fans, which is a shame. Obviously having the fans on our side will be a bit disappointing, but hopefully they can have our full support from back home. Obviously not having your families there is obviously a bit disappointing after having news that we might actually have and then taken away again. But it'll be completely different with the atmosphere situation, but I think we'll just be used to it. I think just because we're used to having fans not there all season, it'll just kind of tick along as another game, but obviously we know the importance of it.
Can you tell us what you recall of the 2016 final?
Not much, actually. It's quite a blur. But just, I think the celebrations at the end, I think obviously the night before and getting prepared in the morning and stuff like that, it was a little bit nervy. I think just because it's a massive game, there's a lot riding on it, but I think it'll just be similar this time. Obviously, I think warming up, you won't get the same atmosphere, but at the same time, we know what's at stake, knowing it's a big game. But yeah, like I said, with no fans, but we've played the semi-final there, and I'm sure it'll just be the normal.
How much have you progressed as a player since that day?
I'd probably say a lot. I'd probably say I'm an established player for Hibs. Worked my way into the team and managed to do quite well, which is good. So obviously I've added a lot of goals and assists to where I was back in 2016. I think I've matured as a player, and hopefully that can help me along the way.
Not getting on in that final, was there a tinge of disappointment about that?
No, I was. As long as we won it, I wasn't really bothered. Obviously, there was probably a slight chance of me getting on. Obviously, when Paul got injured, and And then Gunnarsson came on. I think that was the only time I was maybe being called upon. So I always say to this day, Paul Hanlon kind of killed me a little bit, but it kind of worked out pretty well for us. So, like I say, I've no hang. I've got the medal, and I'm really proud that that I helped out in the semi-final, and I can always look back at that as well.
How much will it mean for you to get another medal this time round?
Yeah, it would mean a lot. Obviously, I've got a little daughter now who's dying to get her hands on the trophy. So hopefully, I don't let her down. But at the same time, she's proud of her. She's proud of me, and yeah, I think it'll do. The city brilliant. The fans, they'll deserve it after missing the whole season. And yeah, I think we've all strived towards the same goal where we wanted to finish third this season, and we've achieved that. And obviously, we want to set out to win a trophy, and we're in a good position to do that.
What's your daughter's name, Martin?
Amelia.
What age is she?
She's 3 in September, so 2 at the moment.
You're just getting her head round you being a footballer now?
Well, yeah. She always tells me to score goals every weekend. Some weekend it's ridiculous numbers. Sometimes it's realistic, which is good. So I always ask her before I leave the door, either a hotel or to the games, which is good. And yeah, she enjoys kicking the ball about the house. And obviously, my wife Rachel's she plays for Hibs as well, so it's quite a football orientated family. But at the same time, I don't think we'll pressure her into playing football. We can let her make her own decision.
Good man. Good luck.
Thank you, mate.
I think you're at 15 goals for the season, so your daughter must be doing something, right?
Yeah, she's been a good omen this season. I'll need to ask her this weekend what she's wanting. It might be unrealistic, but at the same time, it always puts a smile on my face when she gives me an answer, which is good. But yeah, obviously it's a bit disappointing they can't be there, but at the same time, we'll see them after the game anyway.
I don't know if you listened to Marvin Bartley speaking a few weeks ago about celebrations after the Scottish Cup Final. He said they went to pick you up, and perhaps a bit worse for wear. You able to clear up what actually happened when he came to pick you up? Can you remember?
Yeah, I remember. I quite actually do remember him picking me up and taking me home. Funnily enough, but it was just part and parcel of the celebrations. Some say I might have taken it too far, but at the same time, from where I came and where I've come from, it's I never thought someone like me would be picking up Scottish Cup medals, and obviously with an opportunity to win 2 would be great. Obviously, I've been warned from the wife not to do the same again, which is quite alarming.
But I mean, for you personally this season, I mean, would you say it's probably been the best season in your career just in terms of goals, assists, and things like that? Yeah,
it's been fantastic. I think obviously since the manager came in and I came back from injury, I've just kind of picked up where I've left off, and I've added more to my game. And we've recruited well, where people are getting on the end of crosses and stuff like that. And obviously I've built a good relationship with Kevin and Doidgy, which is great. And obviously we brought in Jacko, who steadied the ship in January, and our backline's been phenomenal this season. So I think as a group, everyone's kind of clicked into place, and we're in a good position.
And obviously, it's been a really good season for yourself. There's plenty of reports across the papers and the media this morning linking you to moves away in the summer. What are your plans for next season at the moment?
My plans for next season is obviously I've got trips away with Australia. I'll be coming back in the pre-season with Hibs. I've still got 2 years left, so nothing changes, and hopefully preparing for a little European adventure and kicking off the season early again. I won't get much break myself, but nothing changes. My full concentration's on Hibs, as it should be, because I think it would be me speaking about moving away and stuff like that would be a bit disrespectful of the club, considering I'm under contract. And like I say, I'm happy here, and that's why I signed the deal back 6 months ago.
Yeah, you did just sign 6 months ago, but you do have 15 goals this season. Can you understand why perhaps you're being linked to clubs down south? And how does it make you feel as a player? You're pleased to be linked to moves away?
Yeah, obviously it's just speculation. It's always nice to see, but that means I'm doing something right. It means I'm doing my bit on the park, and I'm putting in the shift. And yeah, obviously if you do well, there'll be speculation like this coming along. I'm sure other people in the team have had it this season, and obviously it seems to have came out before the cup final. But at the same time, my full focus is on this Saturday, nothing else will change, and it's at the back of my mind.
Good luck at the weekend.
Thank you.
Hi Martin. As good as 2016 was, would this one mean a wee bit more, being a more of a key part of the team?
Yeah, it'll be completely different. Obviously, I think the build-up leading up to the game, obviously I wasn't playing in 2016, and hopefully I'm playing this weekend. But at the same time, yeah, it'll be different. I feel like I've really kicked on this season, and hopefully I can one last push on Saturday, and hope I can produce again.
And you mentioned about the relationship with Kevin and Christian there. I mean, 46 goals between the three. You must just sort of feel that, you know, at least one of you are going to score when you go out, the form you're in.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all hungry players. We want more. We want more for each other, and I think we've had, since we've all played, we've had that. I think we've had that spark. Even if one of us aren't informed, there's always one of us to score the goals or make something happen, which is good. So. Yeah, it's obviously it's clicked into place. You know, we've got the big guy up front who's selfishness for the team, Doige, and then we've got Nizzy's ability to drop in and make passes, and I just run about and just do what I'm told and kind of make things happen, which weirdly it kind of works for us. And yeah, we've got a great connection on and off the pitch.
And you obviously talked about Europe there. I mean, you've had a taste of Europe with Hibs. How much would it, how great would Europe be every sort of Wednesday night, especially if you get up till Christmas?
Yeah, it would be massive for the club, obviously financially, and us for players, it's where we want it to be. That's what our sights were at the start of the season, and obviously playing in Europe before, it's amazing. I love travelling away to play games and the build up to games, and yeah, it's magic. And obviously some people. I've heard the stories about playing in Europe and stuff like that, and this is what we want, and hopefully we can make it a good one.
Brilliant. Best of luck on Saturday, Martin.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Cheers.
Orla, do you think that Kevin Nisbet should be in the Euro squad?
100%. Yeah, I think just the season that he's had, obviously coming from Championship and then producing the numbers that he has is been phenomenal. I'm not the manager. I don't pick the team, obviously, but in going on informed strikers and someone that's had a great season, I feel like he should be in the squad and he'd be a great addition. But we'll see the announcement, and if he is in the squad, it'd be, you know, he deserves full credit for what he's done.
Derek Riordan tells me every week that if Martin Boyle plays well, Hibs play well. Do you relish that responsibility at this stage in your career?
It's a great question. I feel like I don't actually know what to say. I feel like if I'm having a good game, then I know that I can make things happen. I can create chances for the two lads up front. You know, it can maybe I could have a quiet game and then just spark into life. It could be things like that. It might just be a little dribble through, and like I say, I feel like I'm confident if I get in those areas and I can put deliveries into the box. I know there's two goal scorers in there that'll put it in the back of the net, and I know myself it doesn't need to be a great ball because their movement's great, and like I say, it's a great relationship that we have. That even if I'm out of position far up the pitch, that they'll fill in for me, and likewise, I think we can all rotate, and yeah, I think. Obviously, I wouldn't say I'm the main aspect because we've got many players in the team that can do that. But it's obviously nice to hear from Big Deco.
Good luck, Bolly.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Martin, with your goals this season, and you've touched on Australia's 4 World Cup qualifiers, would you be hoping to get into the team a wee bit more regularly and play some of those games in June?
Yeah, that's obviously my goal as well. Obviously, we get Saturday out of the way, and then if selected, I can hopefully bring that form in from this season into the squad, and maybe I'm a different player what they've obviously had over the last few years, and hopefully I can bring something different to the squad. And recent times in the Australia squad, I've started off quite well. I've scored a few goals, and my main aim is to get as much caps and much goals and assists as I can, and make everyone as proud as possible. And that's my main aim at the moment.
Would you be hoping for those qualifiers that your teammate Jackson Irvine would be joining you for those games?
I hope so, yeah. I'll have a wee flying buddy, which would be great. Someone to speak to, but at the same time, I'd like to think so that Jacko's a regular in that squad, and his performances have been outstanding since he's came in. I mean, coming from not playing football in a year straight into our squad, and basically what he's done for the team and really kicked us on has been outstanding. And full credit to him. And yeah, I think he would fully merit a call up.
All the best for Saturday.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Moira, you want to kick us off with the written section?
Hi Martin, how you doing?
Hiya, mate.
Good. I was just maybe looking back. When this season started, it was obviously a lot of uncertainties. We're deferring wages, there was talk of cuts. You're now looking at finishing third, with possibility of a cup win as well. I mean, it's been a bit of a journey, hasn't it, this season?
Yeah, it has. I think if you look back at the results, we could have had the opportunity to maybe finish in third a bit more comfortably. We did slip up a few times, and we kind of made the Hibs fans wait until near the end, which was obviously we had a few results that we thought weren't good enough. Also, we feel like we should have more points on the board, but at the same time, when the manager had a meeting at the start of the season and what we wanted to achieve, and obviously third was the main aim, and everyone bought into his goal, and everyone's been producing, and thankfully we've managed to come together and we have clinched third. And obviously the other thing was to win a trophy, and obviously be very ambitious. And as a club the size of Hibs, we have to be setting out to obviously win trophies, and we find ourselves in a position where on Saturday that we can win the cup.
Do you feel that there's a bit less pressure on you going at this? Because you talk about the 2016 Cup Final, and there had been that, 114 years. There was every year everybody brought up the Scottish Cups. In fact, it hadn't been won. Do you feel a bit less pressure going into it, or have you set standards that high for yourself that there's just as much as before?
Yeah, it's probably the same. Obviously, the standards that we've set from the start of the season are really high, and the expectations that we put on ourselves as a squad, because we believe that we've got a really good squad, are high. And we've got great players here that obviously are more than capable of playing at probably high levels. We've got internationals in our team, but at the same time, we can't disrespect St Johnstone, who have obviously won the League Cup this year. They've clinched top six, and they gave us good games this year. So it's a cup final. It'll be a tricky game, so we just have to just show up on the day and produce what we have been doing all season, and hopefully that'll see us through.
There's obviously the season ticket campaign this year, the slogans, "This is our city." Is that an important thing, just to ram that home by getting a cup win, third place? You've got Hearts coming back up next season. Is this your way of really stamping your authority on Edinburgh?
It would obviously be nice to obviously have, probably, as the fans would say, the bragging rights, but at the same time, they weren't going in. There's two big clubs in Edinburgh at the same time, two mutual supporters, massive supporters at the same time. Obviously, Hearts probably fully deserve to be back in the league after their campaign, and I think we've just went to another level in terms of season by season getting better. Say clinching third and semi-finals that we've been in, and obviously cup final this year, and hopefully if we can finish third and lift our trophy, then it'd be arguably one of the best seasons in Hibs' history, which would be brilliant for the club and for the city.
They give you a platform to maybe go and push even higher next year. Third in a cup is a big achievement, but do you start then looking and thinking, can we split the old firm? Can we, end even higher? Especially when you started this season, you showed that was a possibility.
Yeah, I think when we come back to pre-season, we'll obviously get back down and talk, and we'll see we'll look back at our achievements, and then we'll set new targets. Obviously, as you mentioned, splitting the old firm, we know how hard that can be. Obviously, how the quality of their squads and financially, etc. But at the same time, we've played them both this season. We feel like we've given great games, and obviously, I think a few disappointing results and slip-ups along the way. We could have maybe been closer to them. Obviously, maybe not Rangers, who've been incredible, but certainly Celtic. Obviously, they've had a quieter season, but at the same time, I think next season, I think the league it'll be much more open, and it'll be and just as tough as it was this year.
Obviously, there's wee bits of regrets about the points maybe you did drop, where you could have applied that pressure on Celtic, but you don't want to end the season with any kind of regrets for the cup. You don't want it to be, it was almost a fantastic season, rather than it be a good season. You want it to end up being that historic one you're talking about.
Absolutely, and to be fair, we have had a fantastic season, minus the two semi-finals, but finishing third is a massive achievement for us, and we have got a chance of obviously achieving more, but we just have to look back and finishing third, where we haven't done in years. It's been brilliant, but if we can, like I say, if we can manage to lift that trophy, which we haven't done since 2016, and then years before that, it would be brilliant for the city, it'd be brilliant for the fans, and obviously financially for the club, it'd be fantastic. And then we go in the next season where, I'm sure that if the club are financially in a position, we can make the squad even stronger, and we can push again.
I know you've talked about the interest contracts at other clubs, but I mean, how far do you want to push yourself? Obviously you've got international football, but how far do you want to go, and can Hibs take you there, or is it a case of eventually looking to move on to somewhere bigger and more challenging?
To be honest, I haven't really thought about it. I can't describe how much I'm enjoying my football here at the moment, and some people might say money is everything, but at the same time, happiness is everything. I mean, really enjoying my football here. My family's here, and I wouldn't have committed. I mean, I could have left on a free last year without signing. I could have just seen it out, but like I say, I think just part of being happy, the kind of guy that I am, and happiness and playing football regularly and enjoying it's been fantastic for me, and just making family proud. I could have had the chance to, like I said, see it out, and this Saturday could have been my last game. And thankfully it's not, where I'm in a position where I've had a really good season, and then whatever happens will happen. But as I say, I'm thoroughly enjoyed my time here, and I still continue to do it, and I'll be, as far as I'm aware, I'll be returning back to pre-season after internationals.
Finally from me just now, but how much would this mean to win a cup, especially with your dad? It's been a tough season this year, and there was anguish there at different points in the season there with your dad, but I mean, to be able to hand him a medal or show him at the end of it would be pretty special, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be brilliant. Obviously, it's been up and down season. It's been difficult. Obviously, where I had that blip and all that happening was different. I haven't felt emotion like that before, but obviously, I know my dad's proud of me and what I've put into this season, and I'm sure they'll be phoning me on Friday night just to tell me that it's just one more game, just give everything that I've got, and I'm sure he's proud, and hopefully I can bring another medal home, and hopefully I can get that trophy.
How is your dad now?
Yeah, he's brand new. He's went back to work in the office just a few days a week, so you'd think there's nothing wrong with him. He's like me, he's a little energy bunny, so I think sometimes he needs to calm down and maybe relax a bit, but at the same time he's always got a smile on his face, and he always tells me to enjoy everything that I have and keep going.
Martin, you mentioned earlier, your wife playing for Hibs. I mean, what's that like? Is it hard to get away from talking about Hibs? I mean, what's it like at home living with a fellow Hibs player?
I think to be honest, it's quite quiet. If I have a bad game or she has a bad game, we'll speak about it. If I have good games, we'll all speak about it. But I think just because all the highlights are on TV at the weekends now, then that's all we ever watch is football, which is great. Like I say, we are a family-orientated, football-orientated family. We love it, and we wouldn't have it either way. And that's just what we were brought up doing. And we just love watching or either playing football. And thankfully, we're in a position where we both play for the same club, and we're both doing quite well, which is brilliant. And like I say, we've thoroughly enjoyed our time here, and long may it continue.
How many Scottish Cups does she have?
I'd like to say 2, but that puts a lot of pressure on me.
Does that kind of chat ever come up?
No, we don't. She's got much more medals than me. We don't compete, and she's got more caps for Scotland, and obviously I need to catch up with that as well. So we can be quite competitive, but at the same time, I think we're just proud of the achievements that we've made.
must be quite helpful to support each other, I suppose, in similar professions.
Yeah, obviously it's been a few years ago. Obviously attending games with Amelia, and that was good. Going to our cup finals and vice versa. She'd come watch here, so completely different this year, where kick-off times have been completely different. They're all watching games. Sometimes we'll be playing games and we'll be go to bed and stuff like that. I think Rachel's dying to watch the games, and I don't think Amelia's interested in watching the TV. So I think it would be completely different if obviously she would appreciate more coming to the games, and I think she would know exactly what Daddy does, and I think she would appreciate the big stadiums and everything like that.
Martin, I think it was 2016 and 2017 she won the Scottish Cups back to back. Rachel, did you go to either of the finals to support her?
I think I went to both of them, as far as I'm aware. I'm not sure if it was the League Cup that Amelia came to. I'm not too sure if it was Scottish Cup, but I was definitely there. Because if I wasn't there, I would definitely have heard about it. But at the same time, yeah, her mum and dad support her, and my mum and dad comes to the games, and hopefully when it comes back to a bit of normality, we can finally get back to her watching me on a Saturday and me going to watch her games on a Sunday. And it's obviously it ties up our weekends, and it's really enjoyable.
Disappointing they weren't there on Saturday though.
What was that, sorry?
Disappointing they won't have the opportunity to come and support you on Saturday.
Yeah, it's obviously a little bit disappointing, where we thought that maybe they would have the opportunity to come, and then obviously I think it's been taken away again. Thankfully it's been done early, so we didn't have to worry about, oh well, they're not coming on Friday or Thursday, etc. But at the same time, it will just be the exact same of where we haven't had fans all season, and we know their support will be coming from home. And hopefully after the game we can maybe meet up and see them after the game.
That's it. You can book a table now. Have you got somewhere booked for Saturday night celebrations?
Nothing yet. We'll just see after the game, and hopefully it goes in our favour. That's all that's happening at the moment.
Martin, I believe you've got a clause in your contract with a fixed price, which means you could leave in the summer. What would you say about that?
I'd say I've still 2 years left, and whatever happens, happens. Cliche. Big Matt in the background. Like I say, I'm happy here. I have 2 years left. If something comes of it, something comes of it. But my full focus is on Saturday and returning back after internationals in the pre-season.
From what you're saying, even if somebody meets that clause, would there be a decision? You know, it's not necessarily cut and dried that you would definitely leave. You're saying, talking about being happy at Hibs.
I just have to see what the opportunity was and weigh it up. Obviously, I've never been in that position before, but I'm sure if it's brought to my attention, it'll be something that I weigh up with family and the club, and we'll take it from there.
Martin, you've had a superb season. How much more do you think there's to come from you as a player?
Hopefully a lot more. I'd love to bring more goals and more assists. And obviously I'm not getting any younger, so hopefully I've still got another few years where I can produce the same numbers that I'm doing now. Hopefully I can be a mainstay in this team and then rack up the numbers, and that's what I want to achieve. And win more silverware for him.
You have the chance to play in Europe next season, regardless what happens on Saturday. How appealing a prospect is that to you, and how much will that affect your thoughts in the future if you have to make a decision on your future in the summer? I mean, I think I'm right in saying you've only played one European game before in your career.
Yeah, I think I've played a few actually.
Oh, sorry, my
Monday, Molde. I think I've played a few. But the experiences were brilliant. Obviously, full crowds on a Thursday night at Easter Road under the lights was brilliant. And flying away, different weather climates and stuff like that, and adapting to it is brilliant. And obviously, having a great time with the squad. And obviously, we want to push ourselves to the highest level. And hopefully, we can do it again.
When Hibs won the Scottish Cup in 2016, Martin, you only played 45 minutes across the selection of rounds. How much more personally would it mean to you to lift the Scottish Cup?
Yeah, obviously playing all the games and contributing goals and assists. And obviously having the chance to play in the final and doing well and hopefully lifting it at the end of the game would mean everything to me. Obviously, being a part of the team in 2016, it kind of wasn't the same as being on the bench where you don't get as much plaudits as you want and stuff like that. You feel like you're a bit left out, but at the same time, I can say I did contribute on that journey, and I do have the medal, but it's this time round where I have contributed in all the games, and hopefully I've played my part, and hopefully I can do the same again on Saturday, and yeah, that would mean everything.
Similarly, sorry, I was just going to say, similarly, from that Scottish Cup win, there's only maybe 5 of the squad still there. Obviously, these opportunities, they just don't come around every season.
Absolutely. I think the other 4 are part of the furniture here. They've been here a long time. We just can't seem to get rid of them. They're just part of the furniture, and that's it. Obviously, it's the way it is. But like they've been brilliant. I think obviously Paul, Steve-O, Dave, and Daz. They've been here a number of years, and what they've done for the club has been brilliant, and they've got experienced heads, which is fantastic. And obviously, the way that they contributed themselves in the 2016 final will always be remembered at this club. And obviously, for me to go on, I wouldn't mind some of that as well.
Martin, you were speaking earlier about Christian and Kevin, and can obviously see the chemistry between the 3 you guys on the pitch. But how does that work away from the pitch? You were saying you had a great relationship. Is there someone in the trio who's a particular joker and someone who's maybe on the receiving end more than most?
I kind of like to wind everyone up around the squad, but at times Nizzy can be quite moany, and he's quite a demanding figure around the place. And Doidge's just chilled. He's just a little worker. He'll probably make us coffees and stuff like that around the place, and he'll do the unselfishness around the pitch. But as long as we can put balls on a plate for them, then I'm sure he'll put them all away. But like I say, it's not just us 3. We have a full understanding in this dressing room where everyone's on the same wavelength, and everyone's buying in the same role, and we all have a laugh and a joke around the place. And that's probably partly why we've done so well this season as well.
You say, is that part of the happiness you're speaking about at the club? Because it's quite rare to find that combination amongst players who clearly bring the best out of each other.
Absolutely, and I've been quite thankful since I came in the door here that we've had such great squads that have been great together around the dressing room, and I think that's what's drove us on even further. And I think we've achieved a lot since we came back into the top flight, and obviously winning the championship. So yeah, I've been quite lucky to have such great squads and such great teammates. Obviously, people that have moved on, there's been other great people that have came in and just took their place, which has been brilliant.
It's great. Cheers, Martin.
Wish you well, Martin.
Cheers, thank you. Guys, take care. See you.
What's it like to win the cup in an empty stadium?
Do you mean from Arsenal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird. Obviously, it's a bit different. It's a difficult question because I never played and I was obviously a part of it, but I didn't feel like I really won that competition, and I would never really think that. I was lucky enough to pick up a medal on the day and things like that, but yeah, certainly the celebrations afterwards were a little bit strange. Obviously, you lift the trophy in front of the media guys and yourselves, which is a bit weird, but yeah, it's strange, but what can you do? The celebrations in the change room are just as good, let's put it that way.
Very famously, Alec Maniger played in 5 rounds of the Cup with Arsenal, but didn't play in the final back in 1998. How would you feel if that happened to you? Do you expect to play?
Yeah, no, obviously I expect to play, and I think the manager's made it quite clear from obviously speaking to me and speaking to everyone that he had confidence in me to sort of say that I was the cup goalkeeper, so obviously I wouldn't expect that to change. So yeah, obviously I'm not really thinking about the possibility of how I might feel if I don't. I think obviously I've done enough to justify playing in the final. Obviously, it's a massive game, but that's where we are.
Matt, how much have you been told about Conrad Logan and his contribution to Hibs winning the cup in 2016?
Yeah, so I obviously heard a lot about that before the semi-final, because obviously with playing Dundee and things like that, and I'd had a little watch of that game, just to obviously no pressure for me before the semi-final, because that was probably the best goalkeeping performance I've ever seen. So I'm very aware of that situation, and funnily enough, I mean he probably isn't aware, but when he went on loan to Bristol Rovers, before he came up to Hibs, maybe a year or two before, I was actually a young goalkeeper there. I was only about 15, but I trained with him for one session. So I've always sort of tracked his career from that point. So at the time, I knew about Hibs from that cup run and everything like that. So it was quite a nice coincidence to obviously do a sort of similar thing as he did. But yeah, I'm sure he won't remember me, because it was literally one session.
A chance for you to become a Hibs hero, the same as he is.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, he's made a name for himself, and I've obviously heard a lot about him. And that's what I'll be looking to do. I'm excited by the opportunity, and yeah, obviously if we can obviously get the performance and I can do anything like he did, then I'll be happy with that on Saturday.
I don't think you've lost a game for Hibs, have you?
No. No
pressure?
No pressure. I'm not really superstitious anymore or anything like that, so I'm not gonna pretend or not say the fact that I haven't lost a game yet. It's just the way it's gone. Obviously, we've had a good cup run, and the league games that I've played in, the team have put in a shift, and you know, it's the way it goes. There'll be periods where in my career where I don't win for 7 games, I'm sure. So
I guess at the start of the season, you might not have envisaged playing in a cup final at the end of it.
Yeah, no, a million miles away from that at the start of the season. And I feel very fortunate to obviously be in this position. It's almost come out of nowhere, and yeah, if you'd have told me I'd be playing in a cup final at the start of the season, it would be the farthest thing I was ever thinking about doing. I was just thinking about trying to play some form of football at some point this season. I didn't know where that would be, and I'm very lucky to have found such a great club, and everything to fall into place that has given me this opportunity to, you know, possibly have the highest point in my career so far.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Matt, I know you're meant to be. You look set to be the Hibs number 1 next season. If Kevin Dabrowski doesn't go on loan, do you see him set to push and challenge you for that jersey?
Sorry, mate, I missed the start of that.
So you're set to be after committing to Hibs, you're set to be the number 1 next season. Do you feel that Kevin Dabrowski is ready to challenge you and push you for the jersey?
Yeah, of course. I've seen it a lot in my career where obviously you'd imagine there'd be a number 1 and number 2s at a moment, a game, and it's all changed so quickly. So I'm very aware of the fact that you're never guaranteed number 1, and it's only a matter of games before that opinion has to change. And obviously working with Kev since I've come in, I've seen his ability, his hunger, his desire, which is incredible for someone who doesn't play regularly at the moment. His attitude towards training and wanting to be better is top level. So yeah, I'm well aware of the fact that he can grow and be a top keeper. So which for me is a great thing. The competition I've had with Ophir this season, and I think Ophir would say the same, has pushed us to play at our best regularly and consistently. So if that can happen again next year, that's only good for me, him, and the club as a whole, I think.
And obviously, Offier on his way out, is he one that'll sort of be missed around the squad? Obviously, only sort of playing with them for 6 months, but is he one that'll be missed?
Yeah, of course. He's obviously a massive part of this team. And since I've come in, he's been great. He really welcomed me and he's helped me settle. And I've loved working with him. It's been a great goalkeeping group we've had with Kev and Sammy and Murray when he's been in and all of that. So he's a massive part of the team, of the club. And I'm just looking to sort of carry on his quality goalkeeping form that he's produced over the last few years and fill his boots, hopefully.
And final one for me, the Arsenal friendly was announced this morning. Are you looking forward to seeing some familiar faces?
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? I'd heard a rumour about it, but obviously nothing was confirmed recently. So that'll be good fun, and I will be doing everything I can to win that game. So.
Brilliant. Best of luck on Saturday. Cheers, Matt.
Thank you. Cheers.
Jack, how's preparation been for the cup final?
It's been good. It's obviously we still have a little bit of time left across the rest of the week, but thus far it's as you can imagine, there's a palpable sense of excitement and anticipation around the group, and that brings that level of intensity around training and feel around the training pitch as well.
How much looking forward to leading your team out at Hampden? Obviously, it's almost cliche now to say it, but it is gutting there'll be no fans there at all, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you try not to think about it too much because it is sad. I think we never became accustomed to not having supporters in the stadium, and I think it becomes even more acute when you look at the significance of the weekend's game and the potential outcome of it. So that that's probably disappointed that remains the case. But then stripping it back from there, the excitement around being involved in the Scottish Cup Final and leading a team out there remains the same. It's a special tournament to me, big part of my childhood and growing up in the Scottish Cup, and it's been nice feeling this week because it probably just gives you that reassurance that you continue to do the job for the right reasons. The fact that you feel so excited about being involved in the Scottish Cup Final.
Last game of a fantastic season for you after getting that third place. I was asking a few of the players we had in earlier, is there any sense that, because there will no doubt be exits and new players coming in, that this could be the kind of last game of these specific group of players together, and the perfect way to mark that is to lift the trophy?
Well, I hope not. Is the first answer to that. I think when you work hard to put together a successful group, you naturally want to keep them for as long as possible. However, what unfolds over the coming weeks remains to be seen. I think regardless of that, I think the determination to lift the trophy will be the same, irrespective of whether there's a group that was either going to split or be together. So they've worked incredibly hard to put themselves in this position and been very good over the course of the season. And I don't think they want to let this opportunity slip by. It's not that easy. It's not easy, to get to a cup final. Unless you're very fortunate, they don't come around all that often. So as I said, it's a brilliant opportunity weekend to write themselves into the history books of the club.
In terms of St Johnstone themselves, you are favourites for the game with the bookies. I know you quite often don't read too much into that, but I think they've won the last 3 meetings between the two sides. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think they've obviously been better. I think they've obviously scored more than us on the day, which is the easy answer to it. But I think there's been aspects of all the games that we've been pleased with. But it's about doing those bits of the game we've been pleased with more consistently through the match, and then ensuring that we find a way of preventing St Johnstone scoring and not winning the game. So I've enjoyed the games against Callum's team this year. I think that they've proven to be difficult opponents, as they have done to most of the teams in Scotland this year, if not all of them. And this week our challenge has been the balance between getting the players to remain true to what they've done in the main this season, and then adding a little bits of detail that we hope will give us that edge in winning the game at the weekend.
Just finally from me, Jack, have you heard anything from UEFA? There's reports today that that we thought you would, if you win the cup, you go straight into the playoff for the Europa League, and if you were to lose that, you would still be guaranteed the new Conference League placing. Have you heard anything? Because there's reports that might be changing.
No, nothing. Whether or not other people at the club have, I don't know as yet. But the reason I would say it's not something I'm concerned with at the moment is because the prize for us at the weekend is just winning the Scottish Cup. You know, anything beyond that is added or extra. You know, the European side of it was never a driver for us to win the competition. It's about achieving that glory, if you like, and winning in a massive tournament. So it's a byproduct, if you like, of potentially winning the tournament. And I'm sure over the coming days and weeks, hopefully we'll have clarity should we win. You know, so we've got to go and do that first and foremost.
Good luck, Jack.
Thank you.
Any knocks on Saturday at all, Jack?
No, we came through unscathed, so the squad remains as it has been. None of the players obviously that have been out will return, but with no fresh injuries or no fresh players missing out from last weekend. Some
impressive performances on Saturday. The majority team in form at the right time. It must be a nice headache to have ahead of Saturday. I'll get who starts.
Yeah, I've had that headache over the course of the season because of how players have continually trained and the standards they've reached on an almost daily basis. Some people will believe that team selection is more straightforward than on other occasions, but it genuinely is always challenging because of how the players have reached those standards. But I think in Cup Final week, I think that clarity of thought is important. We know our team at the moment, players know the team, and it gives us that really good preparation and time in terms of making sure we're ready to go on Saturday.
And with the third place secured before the Celtic game, it kind of became less of a vital game. Was there some extra time in those couple of days to get more preparation ahead for Saturday?
I think the main aspect of it was obviously being able to rest some players. Some had bumps and bruises and some just needed a little bit of downtime. It's been quite a quick turnaround leading into a cup final. I think because of the way the last week of the season was. We had 1 day rest and then we've been back at it since the beginning of the week. So enough days to prepare us properly for the game in terms of tactical sense. A lot around the same routine as we've done pretty much all season. I think that degree of normality helps the players trust in the process as well.
And final one for me, it's been, you pointed this out last week, it's been yourself and Graham Matthew's first full season in your roles. Not a bad first season. What kind of part has Graham Matthew played in the club's successes this season?
Well, I think that Graham's role encompasses different aspects of the club, not always related just to first team. So he's taken on a lot of responsibility during a particularly challenging time in terms of the disruption to the academy and overall structure of the club. So I think he deserves enormous credit for how much he's taken upon his shoulders and how he's tried to navigate the club through that. And then at first team level, I think he views his role as trying to take as much workload away from me as he can so I can focus on preparing the players for each individual game, and he does his utmost to do that on a daily and weekly basis. And then I think we have open, healthy communication on a daily basis as well that's particularly helped us towards the recruitment structure that we've shown in recent times as well, and his support and willingness to go and bring players to the club that I've identified has been consistent, and it's been good to have that backing from him in that sense. So as recently as bringing Daniel Mackay to the club, I think that as soon as Graham and I spoke and I made it clear that he's somebody I felt would improve us and strengthen us, then Graham begins that process, and more often than not he's delivered that as well, which is hugely important.
Brilliant. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Cheers, Jack.
Jack, do you think that Kevin Nisbet should be in the Scotland squad tomorrow?
I think the very obvious answer for me is his manager would say yes. I would hope he would be. I think he's given himself the best possible chance. Not just because of his form and performances this season, but I think he's that period in between his call up and his cap and now. I think that was a key period for him, was to come back from that first introduction into international football and produce a really good level of performance, and he's done that. He's embraced that challenge, and I think, as I mentioned here, what he has done is given himself the best possible chance of being included. And if he is, then it will be a brilliant compliment to us as a club and a terrific achievement for Kevin personally.
If he is in the squad and he's got a cup final at the end of this week, it's the biggest week of his career without a doubt. What kind of personality is he? Will he embrace that challenge?
Yeah, he backs himself. I think that's been evident in his performance. He's been evident his career path. He's had to work his way back through the levels. I think he's driven by wanting to prove some people wrong, which is fine. I think as you get a little bit older in life, you probably make peace with that a wee bit, but he's still young enough to have that fuel behind it. That he's been written off by some people, and that big driver for him is to keep proving wrong, and he's going about that in a terrific way at the moment. And in terms of handling the significance of this weekend, no problem for him. I think he thrives on it, actually. I think he enjoys the bigger occasion and the bigger prize, and hopefully that will be reflected in his performance at the weekend as well.
Good luck, Jack.
Thank you. Thanks, David.
Jack, considering everything that's sort of gone on in the last 18 months for you coming in, the pandemic, I mean, wage deferrals, things like that, much of the credit is it that Hibs have managed to get to this point, third European football and potential silverware?
I hope that it's something that I understand that if we're successful on Saturday, I think it will absolutely be recognised as an outstanding season for the club. I think irrespective of the result of the weekend, I think that the players and staff should be given enormous credit. As you mentioned, there's been a lot of challenges throughout that period within the club, but also with in terms of everybody's daily life. I think that everybody's had challenges in their own industry and walks of life as well. So the players have shown huge consistency in their mindset and approach to wanting to achieve success. And I told them how proud I was of them to achieve third. The club hadn't done it for a long time. I'm equally as proud that they've reached the cup final, but I'm desperate for them to get the rewards at the weekend by winning the trophy, and that's a huge motivation for us.
And after Saturday, regardless how it goes, do you go and find yourself a beach somewhere and try and cool down after what's been a pretty hectic 10 months, probably 18 months for you, all things considered?
I wish I could, but I think the Dubai overleaving the country is not a great one at the moment as well. So I'll be UK based in terms of break, but I mean, look, I've not thought that far ahead, but it's been quite a mentally draining season as well, and I'll enjoy a little bit of downtime that comes. Players tend to get more of that than I do as a manager. But at the moment, just looking forward to Saturday. I haven't thought too much beyond that at the moment.
Best luck.
Thank you.
Jack, is it the case that you would normally be on holiday at this time of the season and watching the Scottish Cup?
In normal times I would be if I was out of the cup, and I'd normally go away pretty quickly at the end of the season. So it would be, but I would take this scenario every single season if it meant prolonging your season and having less holiday time to be involved in a game of this magnitude. I'd quite happily take that every single year.
I guess you've been sitting wherever you've been on holiday and just, hoping that one day you would be at the Hampden final.
I think just for me, it's always been a special tournament, as I mentioned earlier. I think that the attraction of it has never changed for me. The driver to try and win the competition has never changed, and it's just the way in which to do it. It's obviously changed for me once your playing day's finished, then that chance goes. You don't know what lies ahead post playing, so you think it's maybe gone forever. But the fact that I'm lucky enough to have that opportunity now as a manager is one that I'm grateful for, and it's one I'm hugely excited about. I'd love to be successful on Saturday. I'd love to go and win the tournament just because of how special a competition I think it is.
You manage down south, of course. Does it Scottish Cup kind of supersede the FA Cup these days, in your opinion?
I don't know. I think what I would say is that I watched Brendan's team on Saturday win, and I thought that their reaction, players, managers, staff, those supporters that were lucky enough to be inside the ground, pointed towards it still being a very special tournament. And I think that was nice to see. Whether it was the events of the last year and a bit that have made it like that again, I don't know, and I can't speak for other people, but certainly it looked to me, watching it from afar, that it was it mattered a heck of a lot to those Leicester players that were successful at the weekend. So I would hope that would always remain the case. I think that mentioned about the Scottish Cup being a big part of my childhood, so is the FA Cup in terms of the competition we played in the same day and everything around them. And I think in a year whereby there was a potential move towards a Super League, etc., and it was a reminder that people, the traditional aspects of football are still hugely important for people in these cup competitions, examples of that.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jack, on Saturday, how impressed were you that some fringe players came in at the side and had a good performance? Does it give you a kind of headache getting at the game for the weekend?
No, I've had headaches all season because of how players train and reach standards, and hasn't really changed in that regard. And I probably expected that type of performance from the players because I've got a lot of faith in them. Just because a player doesn't play for you every week, it doesn't mean to say that you don't have trust in them, because you need to have trust in your whole squad. And I was pleased first and foremost for those players that they got the opportunity to be on the pitch and against good opponents and deliver that type of performance. But it didn't really change anything for me, because my opinion of them has been fairly consistent over the course of the season. You know, I believe they're good people and good players, and it's why they're part of the group and why they've had relative success today as well.
All the best for the weekend.
Thank you.
Hi, Jack.
Are you okay?
I'm okay. Whoops. Liking the new cup final hairdo there.
That's I'm trying to make myself look young. It's working.
I said I liked it. I didn't say you looked young with it.
I actually look. I tell you what, I look younger before I started this press conference today, because it's been on for about 3.5 hours so far.
Obviously, looking at the squad, you were talking about the fact that you expect to have everybody available. I mean, it's not very often this season you've had that. Does that present its own problems for you going into this? I mean, there's an awful lot of options, a lot of choices to make.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying everybody available. We still probably one short on the bench, such as the nature of the squad, and obviously we've still got, like, for example, Chris Cadden missing. So yeah, but it's nice to have players like Jamie Murphy back fit. I think Keir McGuinness a lot more fit and healthy and strong. Dan McGregor fit and healthy and strong, and I think, you know, those players that played, Melka's in good form. So I think it's just nice to have those players getting minutes